Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome again to my YouTube channel, Eric Brothers YouTube. I say again, welcome to my YouTube channel, Eric Brothers YouTube. And today, I'm covering some more military content, and I'll be going in on a continuing series for Special Forces. And this one is the Air Force. And I'm continuing. The one I started was on TACP, the Tactical Air Control Party. So this right here will be the requirement to become a TACP Special Forces in the Air Force. All right, guys, let's get into it. So basically, in order for you to become Special Forces, obviously you need to join the military. And for the Air Force, that journey begins at basic military training. And this right here is for the TACP Special Forces. This is the pathway. Okay, so the first step, you will become enlisted, and you have basic military training for about 7.5 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas. And then upon completion of basic military training, you'll follow on to the Special Warfare Candidate Course. Okay, and this is that Lackland Air Force Base. Now, let me be clear and explain something. This right here is for those that are selected for this particular career field, because normally basic training lasts longer than that. But this is for the individuals that will be joining this special operations unit. So if you are selected, for this particular career field, basic training for those individuals are going to be a bit shorter than it would be for the rest of the regular military. Normally with the rest of the Air Force, I think basic training is like about I think it's an 8-week course, something like 8 or either 9 weeks. I'll double check that. But because as a Special Forces candidate, you are going to undergo much more strenuous and extensive training, physically and mental. They basically slightly cut your time short because of that. So anyway, let's get to it. So basically, once you enlist in the Air Force, and if you're selected for this particular career field, you'll do 7.5 weeks in basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, and then you will follow on to Special Warfare Candidate Course. Now, if you have what it takes, okay, to be part of Special Forces, in this particular course, they're going to find out basically what you are made of. Now in this particular course, the candidates is I'm talking about this training is intense. They're going to undergo intensive conditioning and strength training, and they do this through the disciplines of running, obviously swimming, rucking, and obviously you're going to be doing your push-up, sit-ups, and whatever the particular body or whatever other strength and conditioning exercises that they have to build you up. Okay, now you will be tested with the initial fitness test. Okay, and provided you pass the initial fitness test at the Special Warfare Candidate Course, then you will be able to continue and follow on in your training. And so next, we'll move on to the TACP Apprentice Course. And this particular course is 21 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas. Okay, Special Warfare Airmen, okay, are some of the most highly trained, okay, in the military. For TACPs, the training begins with instruction and assessment on the art and science of radio communications, small unit tactics, and the basics of close air support. And as I stated before, the TACPs, what they do, they are the go-to in between the ground forces and the actual forces that are in the air. They give the coordinates so that way that ground forces and forces that are in the sky, they can properly hit their target and use the right strategy, in their operations. And it is crucial, that these TACP guys, saying they have to be as accurate and as precise as they can, because if they give the wrong coordinates to the ground forces or to say air forces. Now other branches of service do have aircraft, so I don't mean these TACPs, they work with all branches of service to include foreign service. So if there's any type of aircraft, that are going to unleash a payload. And what is a payload? A payload is basically their rounds or artillery or missiles. And so the TACP guys are the radio and the communication guys that are communicating with the ground forces and with fighting forces in the air to tell them exactly where the target is located and how to hit it. So they set them up, so that they can position themselves to basically get their target or hit their target. And if they get that wrong, they can cause a lot of collateral damage. So these guys have to be, on point and, know exactly what they're doing. But anyway, the TACP apprentice course is 21 weeks, okay? And after that, once they complete the TACP apprentice course, okay, then they go on to airborne school, okay? Now, airborne school, they'll do 3 weeks at Fort Benning, Georgia. TACP serve on the front line, but getting there sometimes requires dropping in from above. During airborne training, they learn the basics of parachuting and prepare for static line jump operations. So here's where these guys, they go to get their I guess you could say their jump master or their jump wings, but these guys are special forces. And special forces, this particular portion of the military, they are required to do a lot of different things. If you want to say wear many special hats, wear different hats, but they do it at the level, saying of I guess you could say of an expert, and they operate outside the lines of the conventional military. So therefore, they are required to have extensive and intense and specialized training in order for them to carry out their missions successfully. And so the TACPs, depending on what their objective or their target is, they have to have these specific specialized training for their operations. So airborne school is one of it, and obviously they'll be down there with the 82nd Airborne, who yeah, well, 82nd Airborne, I know that they're at Fort Bragg, but still, the Army, guys, that get their jump wings, they got to go through Fort Benning, Georgia. So salute to my Army guys, that got to get your jump wings. But all your special forces, regardless of which branch of service that it is, they have to attend, airborne school, and they have to be able to jump out of planes, helicopters, or whatever it is, they have to, because they may be called, to do a certain operation, so these guys operate tactically, on the ground, from the air. They are, whatever is required. I'll just put it that way, whatever is required, but they have to be experts at what it is that they do. All right, let me move on. I don't want to drag this too long, but I'm gonna break these different portions of their training into different videos because it's a lot to cover. All right, next, After they finish completion of airborne school, then they will go on to what is known as SERI training. Okay. Now you may ask, what is SERI training? Okay, SERI training is it is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape training. Okay, and this training is conducted at Fairchild Air Force Base, Washington. Okay, now what is the purpose of having this SERI training? Well, because special forces many times operate outside conventional lines of the military and the nature of what they do, there is a possibility that they could be captured, and so they may wind up in some remote location, and they have to have necessary survival skills, in order for them to survive until they get back, to the normal population, or until they reach their unit or any military unit. So survival, evasion, and resistance and escape training, it is necessary, and more than likely they're going to use it in this particular training. It will save their lives and also save the lives of others. And this particular training, like I said, is 3 weeks, and this is at Fairchild Air Force Base, Washington. Now, as you notice, you can see that that the different types of training that these TACPs are doing, they are in different environments. The environment at Lackland Air Force Base is different from, say, Fort Benning, Georgia. Fort Benning, Georgia is very humid. It's a very humid and arid type environment. In Washington, and I guess out west, maybe it might be a bit more, maybe drier, but maybe colder. You know what I'm saying? And then Lackland is just more flat out like a heat wave. But the military has these specific schools or training centers in different environments for a reason, and they need these guys to train in different environments, and I guess, so to speak, be able to adjust to different climates, because they may have to perform some operations that may even require them to be up maybe in Antarctica, believe it or not. They train in various different environments, so that way, if they're put in a different scenario and say the climate or weather changes, they're still able to perform their job and accomplish their objective. But anyway, that's for SERI training, and again, that's survival, evasion, resistance, and escape training. Now, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Next, they have the initial certification course, and this is phase 1 of combat field skills. Okay, and this course is 16 weeks, and it is located at Camp Bullis, Texas. Okay, and what is the purpose, of these combat field skills? Well, what it's going to do, it gives foundational training, and it'll teach them additional skills to succeed as a joint terminal attack controller. So that way they'll be able to operate, in field conditions, and operate with any branch of service. Again, this right here is the initial certification course, phase 1, combat field skills, and they are necessary. All right, and like I said, I will go through and I'll break down each one of their particular training in a separate video, so you can get a more clearer picture. But I'm just going through, this is just the requirements, so I have to go through and do a quick overview. All right, next is initial certification course, phase 2, strike phase. Okay, this right here is 5 weeks, and the training center is at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. And okay, so phase 2, this is the culmination, okay, of training where students, they will use everything that they have learned in a simulated environment and live close air support basically mission scenarios. Basically, what they're saying in plain English is that all of the training that they have learned, the military puts them in different simulated but close to real life scenarios, like they're in a combat zone, and they give them different scenarios and to test them and to see how they operate. Like I said, your TACPs are combat controllers. They are the middlemen, between the ground forces and also between your fighting aircraft, whether that's any branch of service, Marines, Air Force, Navy, whatever. It doesn't matter. But those are your middlemen, and they are on the ground giving the coordinates, and they're communicating to the ground forces and the air forces of any branch of service, so that way they can strategically plan and hit their objective. And so they test these guys, to see exactly how they do in these particular exercises. But this may have been a bit choppy, but I will briefly just run through the different requirements. And again, this is an overview. So again, your pathway, if you are selected for this particular Special Forces unit, it begins with basic military training first, which is 7.5 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base. Then you will follow on to the Special Warfare Candidate Course, which is another 7 weeks at Lackland. And then you will move on to the TACP Apprentice Course, which is 21 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas. And then you will follow on to the Airborne School for 3 weeks at Fort Benning, Georgia. And next will be your SERI training, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape Training, which is 3 weeks at Fairchild Air Force Base, Washington. And next, you follow on to your initial certification course, Phase 1, Combat Field Skills, which will be done and completed for 16 weeks at Camp Bullis, Texas. And then you will follow on to initial certification course, Phase 2, Strike Phase, which will be 5 weeks at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. So these right here, ladies and gentlemen, or guys, these are the requirements to become part of the Air Force TACP, Tactical Air Control Party, if you are selected. But this is just a brief overview, and so I will be back and I will be following on with videos breaking down each specific training, so that way you can understand it more in depth and detail. But for those of you that desire to be Special Forces, this right here is your pathway. And for those, if you are already obviously in the Air Force, then you can apply, for Special Forces, and then they can basically you can cross train, provided you meet the needed requirements. You can just cross train out into this particular AFSC. That's what the Air Force calls it. The Army and Marines call it MOS. MOS, and the Navy calls it, like Navy and Coast Guard, it's like a what is it, SKT. But bottom line, those are all acronyms to describe a career field. But that's all I have on this one, guys. So I will continue with the Air Force Special Forces TACP, and this is just one of the Air Force Special Forces, but I will do other videos on Special Forces for each branch of service and what their requirements are, and go through and break down the different elements and aspects of their training. All right, guys, that's all I have on this one. And this right here is Air Force Special Forces TACP Part 2. And thank you guys for listening. And the name of this channel is Eric Broadus YouTube. That's ERICBROADUS YouTube. And please smash that bell to become a subscriber. Hit the notification bell to turn on all notifications, so when I upload any content, you can receive it. Smash the like button to like the video. If you don't like it, hey, hit the unlike button. Either way, leave a comment. Love to dialogue with you. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. And maybe you have other information that I have not covered that you care to share with myself and maybe any others that are watching the video. And I also have a podcast called Snacks Thoughts, SNAKZTHOUGHTS, Snacks Thoughts. And you can find the podcast on Spotify, Spreaker, Acast, Radio PBM, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and a host of other social media outlets. So please join Eric Broadus YouTube and join Snacks Thoughts and share them both. Push them out. Share them with family, friends, enemies, frenemies, dogs, cats, goats, bats, whatever. Share it, push it out, guys. All right. Thank you for listening, and thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. And again, this right here, part 2, Air Force Special Forces TACP requirements. That's all I have on this one, guys. Peace out. Catch you on the next one later.